I'm an artist, but I don't create art to create art. I make art to support the community, to build a world where we take care of Mother Earth and where we take care of each other. So film is a vehicle for that. I think the reason I started making video and the reason I could see a future for myself in documentary film is when digital video came out, and suddenly it became accessible for people from working class families to create video. And then that's only increased since everyone's putting video online. So I think that that technological change empowered me to feel like this is something I could feasibly do. My first documentary was A Little Rebirth about my Somali community in Phoenix, and it's a documentary about the refugee association that my father and other Somali immigrants and refugees started to serve the new refugees. And I wanted to document that amazing history because I feel like there's a small but very strong Somali community in Phoenix, and I'm really proud of it. The way that I tell stories is rooted in Somali oral tradition. What I want to do is bring that tradition, that really, ancient and strong tradition of storytelling, and bring it into modern tools like film, video, and also tell these modern stories that are really American or really urban, really Western, but draw from that proud, rich history of storytelling. Since then, I just finished a documentary, Catching Babies, about women learning midwifery. I filmed it in El Paso, Texas, and I think that film, for me, is showing that Indigenous women and African women and all women from all over the world throughout history have this really amazing calling to help other women. The work that I'm the most proud of and that I like the most of the work I've created is usually a profile of a person, a story of a person's transformation that tells a story that anyone can relate to. So I think the pieces that I get the most feedback on and that I also feel the most proud of are stories of people who are making change in their community. I get excited about different issues like birth justice or migrants' rights, or I feel responsible for these issues because, the migrants' rights issue I didn't consciously want to be a part of, but I had a responsibility as someone who was raised in Phoenix where they're passing these terrible laws. I felt that I had to stand up, and somebody who was from that community, it was my duty to work against it in any way that I could. So I think as a filmmaker that supports media justice, I'm not just I am serving the community, but I'm also part of the community. I think for all artists, and especially for female artists, the first step to making great art is believing in yourself. And I think it took me a long time to understand that I could direct a film. It took me a long time to understand that I have a perspective, and the stories that I want to tell, other people might want to hear. And I had to really center myself and really ground myself in my spirituality, in my family, in my tradition, in my culture, to understand that I could have a voice as an artist. I felt empowered to make video when I had access to digital media, when it was taken out of film. And I hope that in 20 years from now it's going to be increased, and that more people from working class and immigrant background feel that they have the capacity to make video and the capacity to use sound and images to tell a story. We have this ability to communicate because the internet is kind of democratizing broadcast and our ability to communicate with each other. People are going to become inspired by that, and artists, musicians, visual artists, media artists, we're creating the culture that defines our generation. So I hope that that people see those videos and feel inspired to do work themselves. My biggest dream for my work is that it touches people on an emotional level, and then they don't feel overwhelmed by the problems of the world, but they feel inspired by the hope, by the change, and by the work that is being done to create a more just society.